After decades in Hollywood, I came to know more than my fair share of secrets. However, I knew better than to speak of it. Instead, I took the fortune I had amassed over the years, and I ran. I withdrew from society, retired from acting, and focused my energy on more interpretive arts, like painting. Of course, I'm only human. It didn't take too long for me to get the itch, the burning desire to get back to work, and hiding beneath that, the urge to expose all the monsters in this godforsaken industry for what they are. Just to be safe, I told myself I would only work, not speak out. I should have known better. As soon as I dipped my toe back into the world of Hollywood, I was inundated with all the evils I had tried so hard to forget. To make matters worse, I was too talented for my own good. What I thought was a quaint little indie side project turned out to be a hit. It wasn't exactly Oscar levels, but it still landed me on the red carpet of a widely viewed awards ceremony. For the naive, self-destructive activist hiding in me, it was a platform. I can't take back any of what I said, but I wish I hadn't put it all on blast like that. Maybe I would have been treated with a little more mercy afterwards. It felt so good while I was saying it, but once my outburst was finished, I knew I was too. Quickly crawling out of the woodwork, a team of handlers, bodyguards, and damage control journalists descended upon my location. I was escorted in plain sight, like some sort of criminal or madman. Once outside, I was pushed into a blacked-out limousine, different from the one I arrived in. I was being detained by a force far more powerful than any police department. Inside the limo, I was alone. I knew the doors would not open from the inside, so I didn't even try. I wondered how they would do it. Would the cabin suddenly fill with toxic gas? Was this some self-driving limo about to fling me off a cliff? Their solution was shockingly old school. As we moved through traffic, the divider window rolled down. Without looking back, the driver pointed something over his shoulder, a pistol, and with calm laser precision, he pulled the trigger and shot me. It wasn't a bullet though. The moment before I blacked out, I could vaguely see the dart sticking out of my neck. I knew then that I wasn't getting the easy way. I awoke strapped to a chair in a dark, featureless room. No matter how hard I strained, I couldn't see a damn thing. For a moment, I was sure they had blinded me permanently. But then, the darkness cracked open with blinding light. A door had opened, just for a few seconds, long enough to let someone in before closing it again. All I could see of them was a floating, bouncing light. It was blinding, too. Some kind of headlamp that let them see me, but kept me from getting a good look at them. Soon, they spoke, yet I was too delirious to understand, let alone answer. The tranquilizer was still affecting me. As I came to find out, however, it did not offer any relief of pain. When I could not answer them, the torture began. I was never able to see any of it coming, but I could feel it all. The electric shocks frying every nerve in my body, the pulling of nails and teeth, the stripping of flesh, every bit of which I was forced to eat, the only nourishment I was allowed, simply enough to keep me alive for more suffering. I was drowned, strangled, and poisoned, until I could no longer sense time, merely pain. I didn't know how much time had passed. They would torture me until I passed out. Then I would wake up in the middle of the next session of torment. Finally, after endless, excruciating agony, the room was filled with soft light, and I saw a human face for the first time. It was my face, almost like an identical twin that had been shielded from sun and wind his whole life, but still the same as me in every other way. I never thought they were capable of this. In my final moments, they revealed the extent of their capabilities. They are truly unbeatable.
I don't understand. Who is this?
It's you, Jim.
You cloned me? How?
We've been working on this for a long time.
No, the public, they won't believe this thing is actually me. They'll know something is up.
You regularly disappear from the public eye for months, even years. That's plenty of time for someone to change. Perhaps get plastic surgery, or even reverse their disposition entirely. This more obedient version of Mr. Carrey will continue where you left off. That is, of course, once you're disposed of. Mr. Carrey, you may do the honors.
No, no, stay away from me! Don't touch me! No!
It's just so wonderful to be back here again. Life is all I could ever ask for, and the privilege to make art on top of that is a dream come true. I love everyone.
Alrighty then!
No, that's terrible.
Riddle me this, Batsy! Damn it, no! That's even worse! Does he even say it like that? Come on, these are your roles, Jim. Can't you remember them? Yes, you're an idiot! You're an idiot! I'm an idiot! You're an idiot! What's going on? Who's there?
All these years, all these voices in my head, and so few of them mine. Well, that's the burden of being the best, I guess. Good thing I have these. Perfect. It's a hoot to be me, Jim Carrey. All the money, fame, and acting prowess a mortal man could possibly possess. And yet, these people, they don't believe me. Everything was fine. Just fine. Then I went to some fruity French award ceremony and now my life is in shambles because of some stupid interview. Everyone keeps saying,
"Oh, that's not Jim Carrey. He must have had a bunch of awful work done. It has to be a body double."
No, you mouth-breathing troglodytes! That's me! How dare you not recognize me? I'm Ace Ventura, the cable guy. For the love of God, I'm Truman Burbank. You know, from The Truman Show? Only one of the greatest cinematic works of our time, and I'm the star! So what if I let myself go a little bit? Bruce Almighty himself forbid a successful man to laze around his own super mansion. I may be an elite, but don't we all like to sit around in our underwear and cram our bellies full of junk food? I sure do. I'm doing it right now. I know it fattens your face, but isn't that what Ozempic is all about? But just because I haven't maintained myself to be exactly what people expect of me, suddenly I'm a fraud, a fake, an insult. And frankly, the reaction from the public has made me sick to my stomach. After all the work I've done to entertain these ungrateful morons, they turn on me. Just like that. Every single person commenting on every single video I see, saying the same thing. I am not me. There can be no greater disrespect. Someone must pay. No, they all must pay. Everyone who thinks I'm a liar. I'll hunt them all down and show them the truth. But where to start? There must be thousands of those heathens. I can't kill them all, but maybe I don't need to. I just need to take it to the source, to the ones who started this whole disaster. Those damn reporters. I knew they were just after me to find something shocking, especially her. She knew I hadn't been around in a while, probably figured she could get lots of clicks by claiming that I'd been replaced by some half-assed fake. She might have been right, but it'll be her last mistake. I'll go under deep cover, follow her, stalk her, record every detail of her routine, stake out her home until I find out when she's perfectly alone. And with how frail and dainty the French like their women, it'll be easy. She sure was pretty, but she had to die. I found there was nothing beneath that thin veneer of her porcelain face. Nothing but flesh and bone. No character whatsoever. I still took it with me as a souvenir, but I must admit, it wasn't my best work. Despite botching the removal, it was nice to go home and wear her face over mine. It was a great reminder of the fact that some of us go a little deeper than face value. Some people have layers. Some are just a bit more complicated than others. What do you think? Should we go down one more layer? figures.
But hey, that gives me an idea.
Good morning! Shh. It's okay. I know the truth now. There is only one true Jim Carrey. Indeed. So, I need to borrow your face. Relax. You can have it back later.
Being a UPS delivery driver totally sucks. I always thought by the time I turned 30, I'd have quit this job and done something with myself. Ironically, the most interesting thing that ever happened in my life was on a random Thursday delivering packages. It was like any other day. Hot, humid, busy, and miserable. Then, as I was returning to my truck from dropping a package off the doorstep of a house, I saw a strange man running toward me. He was thin, overdressed for the heat in an ill-fitting suit, soaked in sweat, and holding a brown leather briefcase. Nobody else was around, so I knew he was coming to me. I made it to the truck, but did the courtesy of waiting for him instead of driving off like I easily could have. I expected him to ask about a late or misdelivered package, but instead, he shoved his briefcase at me and began begging me to deliver it.
Come on, man, take it.
Dude, if you want to deliver something, you gotta take it to a UPS store. There's one not far from here.
No, this can't go through the system.
Side note, we also prohibit illicit substances.
It's not illegal, I swear. It's just too precious to be trusted with your superiors. It needs an express, off-the-books delivery. Then you'll never have to worry about it again.
You know I could get fired for doing something like that.
Okay, name your price.
After a ton of pushing, I finally went against my better judgment and accepted the briefcase. He wanted it delivered way off route, and thanks to GPS tracking, I knew I'd be caught and probably lose my job. But for the pay he was offering, he gave me $10,000 in cash, promising the person expecting the delivery would double that amount. The money felt and smelled real, and even if it were counterfeit, I could think of plenty of ways to use it until I found a better gig. Already dreaming of my life no longer slaving away for UPS, I waved goodbye to the skinny, sweaty stranger and made my way to the address. I was in a nice part of town, which boded well for things, or so I thought. Of course, I had to stop at a number of red lights along the way, and I couldn't help but get curious. What was in this case that was so valuable to these people? The guy never said anything about not peeking, so I fancied myself a glance. Inside, however, was nothing more than a weird green rubber mask. It looked pretty plain to me, not quite a goblin, almost more of a facial prosthetic, though I closed up the case and tried not to think much of it. At the address, I hopped out of the truck with a smile on my face and the mysterious briefcase in hand. I marched up to the door, rang the bell, and waited to see the guy who was going to give me the other 10 grand I was promised. When he opened the door, I was struck by the feeling that he was very familiar. He was equally as deranged as the weirdo who gave me the briefcase, maybe even more so. His face was freakishly angular and jagged. I thought maybe the mask was supposed to cover up his less appealing features, but I snapped myself back into focus. Acting like this was a regular old delivery, I asked for a signature to confirm it, then gave him a subtle wink to remind him that I was due some extra payment. Unsurprisingly, the man took the case, but then made it clear I had some more hoops to jump through before I got my reward. This guy wasn't as comfortable with handing out wads of cash in broad daylight as the last guy, which was a reality I had to accept. Stepping into his house, I was suddenly surrounded by an enormous collection of the most disturbing memorabilia. This guy definitely had money, along with the eccentric taste to blow it on. The last thing he had to do before giving me my money was to confirm the authenticity of the item delivered, which he didn't explain how he would accomplish, but I just smiled and nodded, then waited patiently as he set the briefcase down on a table and opened it.
Yes, it's perfect. Perfect.
Is it exactly what you were expecting, sir?
Oh, it sure is. You want to see me put it on?
Actually, if it's alright with you, I think I'd rather just get my money and head out. But if you insist, I guess I could...
Oh my god, what the hell are you?
As I stood around, running my mouth like an idiot, he put on the mask. Whatever that thing was, it wasn't natural. As soon as it was on his face, it started to fuse with him, consuming him, turning him into something else, a monster. His head morphed into a figure straight out of a nightmare. Then, his eyes locked on me, and with a gaping jaw snapping open, he lunged. I jumped back and ran for the door, but he sprinted past me at an inhuman speed and blocked me in. He was toying with me. I was trapped. I ran the other direction as fast as I could, frantically looking for somewhere to hide. I found a random bathroom and locked myself inside. I knew it wouldn't take him long to break through with the demonic strength that mask must have given him. So I went for the window and tried to climb out.
Look at me, delivery boy!
I never stood a chance once he put on the mask.